Okay, welcome everybody. Great having you here tonight. Thank you for coming to our second leadership community meeting. I want to open with a word of prayer, and we'll dive in. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your unfailing love towards us, and we set our hearts on you. Lord, seek things above, your word says, not earthly things, for we've died with Christ. Our life is now hidden with Christ in God. And Lord, someday when you return, Lord, we're going to live with you in glory. And so, Lord, let our hearts and thoughts be set upon you. Thank you for all the wonderful things that you're doing at the Covenant Church and for the amazing team that you've brought together. And Lord, you continue to surprise me and surprise us with your amazing mercy. We thank you. And Father, we want to ask your blessing on this time together. Lord, may your Holy Spirit come and fill our hearts, fill this place. Lord, in Jesus' name, amen. Well, I want to begin just by reviewing the purpose of Leadership Community. This is a new group that we've put together. There's actually, if everyone showed up, there would be 57 people. So what's remarkable about that is, our Sunday attendances right now is about 140. So that's leadership. That doesn't count all the other people on teams and so forth. So this group, the purpose of the Leadership Community is to increase our sense of being together. We can be in our ministry areas and it feels like silos. And we don't know what's going on in other areas. Just the other day I was talking to Pat about some of the things they're doing in children's ministry. Just training our kids how to pray. It's wonderful. But, if I didn't interact with Pat, I wouldn't know that. And so the purpose of here is that we feel connected. We want to be a place to equip one another, to be encouraged, to inform, to pray, and to get input from the broader group of leaders, input that the servant leadership team needs. So sometimes we just need greater wisdom, and we feel like we need a broader swath of perspective. So some of the things that we'll be doing, and we won't be doing all of these every time, but we will be doing all of them over time. To connect with one another, being together, we'll always do this, will help us feel like we're part of a larger team with a common mission. To share with one another how our ministries are going. We did that last time. It was wonderful. To pray for our ministries and congregation. Today we will, at the very end, break into very small groups and just pray for each other. We need that encouragement. To receive important updates from the servant leadership team. To give input to the servant leadership team on major decisions or initiatives. To be renewed in God's vision for the Covenant Church Sheboygan. And to be equipped for ministry. So those are the things that we hope to do. And we'll probably do 3 meetings a year. We'll do one beginning of the fall like this. We'll do one probably after the first of the year. And then one at the end of the springtime. And in that rhythm, we'll be looking back and looking forward. So we'll begin with some updates. Last time we met, we asked for your input on whether we should move ahead with asking the congregation about doing the additional improvements. We're looking at and considering, and it was approved, to add to the airlock to the lobby, to add a connection point from our lobby to the admin wing, so people can go straight to the admin wing to go to the bathrooms, especially, not have to come all around here, to update the kitchen, and also to refresh the exterior, painting and landscaping. So those things are the things that we're looking at doing. So this team overwhelmingly said, yes, let's move forward with that. And then we brought it to the congregation at our last congregational meeting, and they overwhelmingly said, yes, let's move forward with this. And so the next step was to create a fundraising team and find a fundraising or a leader to that team. So the new leader of our Refresh Fundraising Task Force is Ken Grace. So, Ken, would you like to just share a few things?
Yes. One, I don't like the idea that this is the beginning of fall. Can you amend?
Did I say that?
Yeah, you said
I'm really sorry. Yeah. This is our midsummer meeting. Our midsummer night dream. Yeah.
Yes, as you know, we have some drawings gave the go-ahead to pursue that. And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to collect bids. We're going to try to get right down to the penny as to what this project's going to cost, not only in totality, but as the components, because maybe we find that we've got four things we want to do, but we can afford to do three. So we'll get the pricing for that, and probably that'll take up the most of 2025. We're going to open up an account. We'll accept donations to that campaign and that fundraising thing, but we'll probably formally get started with fundraising in 2026 once we've got our quotes in and the SLT has decided how to go forward on that. So that's basically what we're going to do now for the next couple months. Just get pricing. Figure out what the real price is going to be on us, not only in totality, but by component. And we'll keep you posted. You'll probably get more information on this than you want to hear, and but we will be very communicative with you on that.
Fantastic.
Good.
Thank you, Ken. And of course, the people vote with their pocketbooks, so the final approval of this whole project would be adequate funds raised. And of course, if we come in a little bit short, we can then grapple with, all right, are we close enough to go ahead and, borrow, do we have adequate funds in our checking account that we can, move forward? Do we want to borrow a little bit? Hopefully not. That would be, it's a smaller project. I don't want to do that. But those are other decisions we'll be making, and we'll be talking. Those will all be brought to the leadership community and also to the congregation. So, questions? The next update, we've been forming ministry teams to help us have functional structures to be more effective in ministry. And one that we began to realize we needed was a team that oversaw or coordinated the adult discipleship ministries of the congregation. And so after discussion, the servant leadership team formed a new ministry team named the Discipleship Ministry Team. And this team will be responsible for coordinating and to some degree overseeing life groups, all the Bible studies, and any other discipleship-oriented small groups or events. So our goal, our purpose is, one, just making sure that we're doing what we need to do to help the congregation grow, but also to coordinate things. So, and you'll see what one of the things that we did was put together, and this will just give you some ideas of what we're doing and the areas that we're looking at. Thank you, Dan. Okay, here's a handout. Can you guys two split that and just pass it down? There you go. One of this is mine, right? Oh. Yeah. Luke, Dan needs more. One of the things that we're beginning, and we'll look at this in a minute, are the life groups. And we've rolled them out to the congregation. There's details that we don't want to overwhelm them. Right now, we're simply finding out who's interested and who's open to being a leader of a life group. So if there's people in this group that says, yes, and actually we're using the term facilitator because that's more accurate. It's we're facilitating the team, facilitating discussion. So if there's someone in here that says, yeah, I'd like to be I think I'm open to being a facilitator, please let us know, and you can do that by filling out the life group form. Or if you're open to being a host, that's all on that life group form that's online. You should have gotten another email this week. If you haven't, or you should have, everyone should have received that. And that will give you a link to go out and fill that out. But what we'll be doing now is when we begin to get more people, we're going to actually we'll identify our facilitators and our hosts, and we'll have a page back in the Connect station for each of the life groups. And then we'll tell people on Sunday, go and sign up under one of those life groups. We'll put those same lists online. If any of you guys signed up for our Christmas desserts, it was something similar to that, where you can actually go online and add your name to that particular group. And that way we'll keep those coordinated so we know when groups get full, 12 is full. That will be happening in probably about 2 weeks, where we'll move to that stage. Hopefully by then we will have identified our leaders. And we're really laid back. 3 groups, 4 groups. It doesn't, to us what matters is that we're providing this for those that have felt a longing for it. And it'll grow organically. And of course, we also have Alpha, and we know that there is a little bit of pull between these two, but they're both necessary. And so we really felt, and have been feeling for some time, that we need to step forward into this. We felt the timing was right. And I think the Lord is raising up the people to make it happen. This is just an outlay of the discipleship ministries they have. Life Group will have what we call on-ramps. So in the fall, we have an on-ramp. That's when we sign people up and get them going. And then again, in the springtime, an on-ramp. And on-ramps have great advantages. What it does is a couple things. One is there's a clear time where we, like with Alpha, we talk about it. So people hear about it in greater intent, and then they sign up. Another thing about on-ramps that is nice is, let's say you get in a life group and, it's okay, but the chemistry's not quite right, or maybe they're studying something and you want to study something different. When the next on-ramp comes, you can on-ramp onto a different group. So what we'll be doing 10 sessions in the fall, 10 sessions in the spring. We're pretty non-directive. We're going to give each facilitator a whole list of options to consider. They can pick what they desire. From that, most of them will probably be like video-based series. So you do like a 10, 15-minute video, you watch it, and then you have a discussion. And there's always times of sharing just what's happening in our lives and times of praying for one another. So there's things that happen that go beyond what we can do on a Sunday morning. I shared all that on Sunday. So that's the idea. And then if you look over to the middle column, Janine's Bible studies in the left column, Dan's on the right. I don't know why I split them up like that, but and in the middle is Alpha. And if you notice, then in the winter, right before the second Alpha, we're going to run the marriage course, which is also comes from the same ministry as Alpha. And I've heard it's outstanding. I've seen some of it, and Luke is going through it with Cassie. So this is for people with healthy marriages, people with struggling marriages, people who are married, in all the range. Liking it?
We enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah.
This was one of our nights, so we moved it to Friday.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a date night, and we just enjoy getting away and having some time to ourselves.
That's
About the Lord and where we're at in our lives.
yeah. And that's actually, marriage course is intended to feel like a date night. So what we're going to be doing is buying some round tables that are big enough for two, getting tablecloths over each one of them, spreading them out so that the people are farther enough apart to not hear the other couples. And the whole time, it's just the two of you. You come, you have a meal, and it's really well done. So we'll be beginning that and see how it goes, but maybe do this rhythm all the time. And then Dan's beginning a group, and of course Dave Peterman's group is ongoing, and I just have some notes here for the calendar. Questions about all this?
Did you say who's on the team?
Oh yeah, the discipleship team is Dan and Brian Bates and Janine Miller, and myself. And it's a great team because every one of the people on the team have extensive life group, small group experience in other churches, other settings. So we've had a couple of really great meetings. So, other questions or thoughts? Anything you want to add, Brian or Dan or Janine? Good? Okay. Good. I'm blind. There you are, Janine. Okay. I knew you were there somewhere. Okay. Yeah, always. All right. Well, Dan.
I don't need a microphone.
We're recording it. So why don't you hit, yeah.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I forgot to mention it to you. Yeah.
So, the servant leadership team, I'm the chair of the servant leadership team. We, during the course of our meetings, we always have a book or a study that we do before we start the meeting, because we think that it's important that the business of the church is not what you always think it is. The business is not just, like I say, the attendance and the bylaws and the budget. It has to do with how is the local church
fulfilling its mission, you know. So one of the things that we've been doing over the last several weeks at our meetings is studying a book called Organic Outreach. Excuse me. Some of you may have heard of it before. I'm just going to read just a little summary of what we've been doing and then show a short video that will kind of highlight. I think it's from the author, right? The video is from the author of the book, Kevin Harney. So the idea of organic outreach is this, especially for churches. It provides direction for congregations to weave evangelism into the fabric of the church. So commitment to the Great Commission is not simply about sending money and prayers to missions and holding occasional events to reach out, although those are definitely important, and we do those kinds of things as a church. But organic outreach happens when evangelistic vision and action become the domain of every ministry and the commitment of every person in the congregation. So, in other words, as you think about how your ministry is running, whether it be coffee ministry or whether it be children's ministry or youth ministry, or you think about what is that component of outreach? How can I reach the lost? How can we tweak things just a little bit so that we can then reach people instead of just being inwardly focused on ourselves and our own ministry? How can we reach out? So that's the whole idea, and we're going through it. What does it mean? How do we organize that? But the idea, being organic, is that maybe it's not just a program. It's organically infused in your ministry. How to think about what can we do. For example, the children's ministry in the beginning of the summer found out that the Little League ballparks, you know, there's all kinds of kids out there. It was just, we decided, well, let's go hand out popsicles. I mean, it was just a minor little thing, but it was the ability to say, okay, let's get the kids involved, and I think some youth got involved as well. They just went out and decided they were going to serve the community by handing out popsicles at the ball field, a minor thing. And I think Paul is going to share a couple of things he did at another church, right? You're going to show an example of that. So the idea is just, we want you to start thinking about what can you do in your ministries that can just turn that up a little bit to reach others. And that's called the 2-degree rule. And I think we're going to show that. So 2-degree rule. The video is going to come up here in a minute, but it says, many of your best outreach programs are already in place. You just don't know it. Your church is already doing all sorts of things with evangelistic potential. The problem is that we do most of these things for people who are already in God's family. The 2-degree rule is the practice of identifying what we do well and then turning our focus a few degrees out into the community and into the world, freeing our hands to serve those who are not yet in the church. So let's go.
It might surprise you to hear this, but a 2-degree adjustment could revolutionize the ministry of your church, could move you towards organic outreach. The 2-degree rule is really about vectoring. It's about saying, boy, if the focus of our church, if the needle of the compass of our church points to due north, and it does, and in the local church, that due north tends to be us. The reality is the needle of the church points towards us and our needs and our wants within the church. But the 2-degree rule is saying, can we take that time, money, energy, all the focus of the church, and not just focus to us, but also vector a couple of degrees out and shoot that energy out into our community. The 2-degree rule is all about saying, what are we already doing well for us in the church? Because the people in our church have needs and concerns. We're doing great ministry. What are we doing well that we can now vector out into our community? This began to be a reality for me when I was sitting with a team of leaders at my church in Michigan that I served for 14 years. And one of the people, as we were trying to think, how do we reach our community? One person said, well, you know, there's a ministry we're doing that we've been doing for us for 107 years. That focus of the needle, us, north, we've been doing this for 107 years for us. What if we offered it to our community? Here was the ministry. Bring meals to people in times of need. When people in our church, us, when we would go through surgery, when a woman would have a baby, for 5 to 7 days, people would bring them meals. And they loved that, and people loved doing it. And this woman said, what if we offered our community that same service? What if we told a church member, if you have a neighbor or a friend who doesn't know Jesus, but they just had surgery or just had a baby, could we bring them meals for 5 to 7 days? And everyone thought about it and said, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we think of this 107 years ago? Why are we so focused on us? And we simply vectored out, we took that energy, moved it a couple of degrees out into the community. It was revolutionary. It showed a love and a grace and a concern. It built bridges to people. And you know what? We didn't have to add any staff. We didn't have to add any money or resources. We didn't have to add any personnel. It was already in place. We just changed our thinking. We took what we were already doing for us and we offered it to our community. You can do that. Just take time in your church, look at everything you do well, and ask this question: can we vector this out into our community a couple of degrees and begin to send the love and grace and care of Jesus with things we're already doing? That's the 2-degree rule. Give it a try and see what happens in the life of your church. It might surprise you to hear this, but a 2-degree adjustment could revolutionize the ministry.
Here is, instead of building a whole ministry to reach out, just take what we're doing and vector it outward. Let me give you a couple examples. We instituted this in a church that I served downstate, and we had, every year, we had on Halloween a harvest festival, kind of an alternative to Halloween. And we threw it for all the kids in our church. As we're talking about this, the children's ministry director said, why don't we vector that out? And so what we did was, instead of throwing it for ourselves, we got together. Well, we did throw it for, we did the same thing. But we passed out invitations, kids invited friends, we got the word out to the community, and we had, I don't know, probably over a quarter of the people that came, the kids that came, had never come to our church before. And so we beefed it up a little bit and did the same thing, and it was a great success. And we touched people. Same ministry, no additional staff, just tweaked it and turned it outward. Another thing they did there was every year we were up on a hill and we had a great view of the fireworks on the 4th of July. So all of our people would come and, their trucks and cars and park up there and with their chairs and watch the fireworks. And a few of the other people who happened to know about it would do that as well. We thought, let's turn this outwards. So we did, and we invited the community. We got word out, and we got a bounce house, got popcorn. We just amped it up a little bit and had a wonderful event. And since that time, it may still be the case, these ministries continue to be turned outward. So that's the kind of thing we were looking at. And so we want to encourage all of you just to be asking that question: how can we vector what we're doing outward? It could just be an intentional having people invite other people to the events that we're doing. We're already doing this. Like we've talked about this, the fish fry. We've talked about who can we invite. Of course, Alpha, that's what it's all about. So be thinking about that, turning just a couple degrees outward in the ministries that you're doing. Any thoughts or input or questions about that? Thanks, Dan. We always like to get input from our leaders, and there's 2 areas that we are asking for input. We'd like input. The first, and maybe Dan and Luke, you can pass out the second one while I'm talking about the first one. We are taking nominations for servant leadership team. We are supposed to do this every year. We're supposed to take nominations from the congregation, and just no one had read the bylaws for a while. And so we hadn't done that for a while. I was looking at the bylaws. I was like, okay, we're supposed to do this, and we knew that last year, but we didn't have time to do it. So this year you should have all received an email asking for you guys to put in nominations. I don't know if we've gotten any back yet. So just be thinking, ask that question: who do you think would be a mature, godly person who could be on our servant leadership team? You can't nominate yourself. I'm not going to say you can't nominate your spouse. You may or may not want to talk to the person about it. But 2 specific things that we need on the servant leadership team is we're losing our chairman, and which is Dan. He's done an amazing job. And the second thing is we're losing our secretary, which is Steve, who's just been very faithful. And so we need a secretary, and no one on the team right now would be a good secretary, I don't think. I know I wouldn't. Don, would you like to be the secretary? Dick? No, yeah. I don't think I don't think Carrie would say yes either, but she's not here, right? Yeah. Yeah. So pray about that, and we sent out the whole list of all eligible members. Obviously, some would not serve, but just put out names that are on your heart, and that will help the nominating team in making decisions. There is. That's right. Yes, there is. There's a form, and we sent out a link for that, and we'll probably send it out again because sometimes people miss these things. But we sent out a form that had all the names of everyone who's eligible. It was an email. Had all the names of everyone who's eligible, and a link that you could click on to go to a form in Breeze and put a couple names in.
So if someone doesn't want to use that link, they can just come to
They could,
nominating.
yeah. And do we have that available in the at the Connect station? The forms, the nominating forms. Why don't we do that? Have them available in the Connect station, because we have some people that they're not emailers, they're not online people. The same, just what we have online. You can just print it, the Breeze form, and then put it in the bulletin, let people know that it's available. So you do have to be a member, obviously, to nominate people. The second thing is we want to get your input on this. I've talked about making some bylaw changes, and they're minor, but they're helpful. Our bylaws were actually, I had to do some research. Our bylaws our new bylaws were voted in 2010, and they were a vast improvement to what we had before. It's a really good bylaws. And they're basically almost exactly the same thing that the Evangelical Covenant Church recommends as really the most empowering, effective form of bylaws. But there were some changes that were made back in 2010 when the original ones were put in place. And I've called some people and talked to some people, and I'll tell you why we think that they were put in place. But we would like to change them back to what the Evangelical Covenant Church recommended. So in section, if you look at here, section 2, composition, the part scratched out will remove, which will become clear as we move on down. Term of office. Leadership team members shall be elected for a term of 3 years. And then that's where ours stop. And this is after at least a year off, a person may be eligible for subsequent service. What that means is after a person's been on for 3 years, they have to rotate off. In the original one, it said, and shall not be elected for more than 2 consecutive terms, which means a person, if they're renominated and if they are, reapproved, could serve a second term. That is most important for really effective officers. So, like Dan, I wanted to put this in place so that I could keep Dan for another 3 years, and Dan says, I'm not available. What was that?
You don't have a good vice chair?
We have a great vice chair. We really do. Luke's our vice chair. So that came out maybe a little bit wrong, Luke. Right, that's right. He's good. Well, Dan was for 15 years an executive pastor, right? It's not fair, so this would not be in effect. The change would not come into effect until the next election a year from now. I mentioned this as a workshop on the church chair at the Great Lakes Conference, and this came up. And what happens is you have a church chair get in the position. Sometimes they have to be on the team for 1 or 2 years before they get in the position. Then they're on the position just 1 year, just 2 years at most, and then you got to rotate again. And it just when you got a person who's really doing good, it's having that right continuity is really critical. So when I mentioned that we didn't have that, we only could do 1 3-year term. Garth McGrath, our superintendent, said, "That's not good. You really need 2 years. You'll have 2 consecutive terms." So that's the main thing. The other thing that we changed back, if you look down to section 10, the leadership team shall elect from amongst themselves, and ours just said a secretary. The chair, the vice chair, and the financial officer all had to be elected by the congregation. We would just like to take that back so that the leadership team can select their own officers. And, if we know who we're thinking to be officers, we can let the congregation know that. It's not a secret, but it gives us flexibility if we need to make a change mid-year, or whatever the situation may be. And that's how almost every leadership team in the ECC does it. And that's the reason why we scratched the part above, because it says the other elected positions will be chairperson, vice chair, and financial officer. So those are the suggestions. Now, we think that the reason these were put in place back in 2010 was because at the time there was real concern about power and control in the church. And so they figured if we had, only 3-year terms, no one could get too much power. And sometimes churches get anxious, and those kind of situations can exist. And we maybe make a decision, and maybe it was the right decision for back then. But now there's good trust. And of course, this doesn't mean that the person will automatically serve an extra 3 years. Not at all. They have to go through the regular nomination process. But if they're solid and good and effective, it really gives flexibility. So your input, because we'll bring this to the congregation, we'll actually have to present it to them, I think, 3 months in advance, so they have time to think about it and talk about it. But we just wanted your input, and what do you think?
So the way it used to be is the ballot actually had chairperson, vice chair, financial officer.
Yes. Right.
But their name,
But not secretary. The secretary can be appointed by the team, yeah. I think we, not since I've been here, but I think in the past, maybe. Yeah, Michelle knows, yeah. So we'd have the name of the person on the not being nominated and their position if they were coming.
People ran as like or chair of the
Got it.
leadership team, vice chair.
Right, and if the person was already on the team, their name would be on the ballot to fulfill the new role that they were taking on.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, I mean, this one's not as critical because, well, we would probably, put forward suggestions that we felt really good about, but it's a little bit backwards saying, okay, let's say Luke was coming up, we hadn't nominated him yet. Luke's going to be our new vice chair, but he's not even on the team yet. So, thoughts, pushback, what do you think about it? Do you understand? Do you understand why we wanted to change it back to the original? Does it cause any worries or anxieties? Yeah.
No, I think it makes great sense. It allows the leadership to decide the leadership.
Yeah.
And the congregation decides who the leaders are.
Mm-hmm.
And the leadership team decides who the leaders of the leadership team are.
Right.
Very logical.
That's the idea, exactly. No. And the congregation, the input of the congregation is very valuable, and that's why we're trying to get nominations to come in. But I think people haven't done it for a few years, and so they're not really used to it. But it's real, we don't make decisions on nominations based on majority, this guy got 10 votes or this girl got 10 votes, and so they're automatically in. We vet based on what the nomination team feels is the most qualified people to serve in this role, and people that would share our vision and direction. And then the SLT and the nominating team need to be in unity about it, and we bring it to the congregation.
So did you already say who's on the nominee? We know that, right? You?
And Michelle, and Luke, and Jess Conaway, formerly Rousseau. Okay? Good. Thank you. Wrong page. The next thing is the ministry fair. This applies to everybody who is part of a ministry or a leader of a ministry. And the idea here is we'll set the fellowship room up with the long tables all around the perimeter. And every table will have 1 or 2 ministries according to the need of the particular ministry. And so, like the youth probably would have a full table because they've got multiple things that are happening. Maybe the children's would want a full table as well. And we'll throw tablecloths over it, and we'll put signs on it. So Kathleen and I haven't mentioned this to you, but we just put, the same signs for what ministries on each table, like cardstock, fold in half. That's all we'll do. And then ministry leaders, your job is to do whatever you want to do for your table. And the purpose of this is threefold. First of all, it's just to inform people so they know what's happening here. So they can walk around and kind of like a job fair, and just peruse. And you can have some literature there for them. But secondly, it's an opportunity for people to sign up to be part and be involved. So, we have, the men's Bible study, the women's Bible study. They can sign up. Life groups, they can sign up to be part of a life group. So the second part is to give people an opportunity to be involved in the ministry. And the third is to recruit leaders and workers in the ministry. So this is a great opportunity for you. So, you have a team and you're like, we need more workers. And so as people come up and talk, you're talking to them, you can have things that talk about the needs that you have. So what you do on that table, it's up to you. But those are the things we want to accomplish. Information, participation, and recruitment.
Is it okay at the church, all the other churches I've been to, your ministries, like youth ministry, they had a whole wing. And when they had ministry fairs, they didn't have a little table. There was a sign or whatever, or
Okay.
and it was announced, come see the youth wing.
Okay.
Come see the children's wing. Come see. They actually get to be in there, and then the leaders
Okay.
of youth
Like an open house, yeah.
children and nursery get to be there and explain. And
I like that. But-
because it's much more effective,
Yeah.
especially with youth and children.
They can experience it. Well, like the hospitality can be back in the lobby.
That's right.
Of course, they'll probably cheat and serve coffee and cookies.
They'll get everybody there.
You're right. where is everybody? Oh, yeah, right.
That's just what.
What you've seen before. I do like that.
They are here
Yeah.
every week, and they are open, although, like children's
Yeah.
wing is not open during church hours. So afterwards, when you have the ministry fair, come on back, come see,
Right.
whatever, same with the youth
Steve?
and the ministry.
Could you
Yeah.
summarize that in your words for the people online? Because we don't hear her.
Oh, okay. What Pat Whiting was saying was that in times churches that she's been with ministry fairs, instead of like just setting up tables around the perimeter of this one room, certain ministries would actually, you'd go to their ministry area. So the youth ministry would have their information back in the youth room, and the children's ministry, the Cub kids back in the Cub wing. And we could do like the hospitality ministry in the lobby. And there might be some other things that we could think about. Was that music ministry could be right here, right?
Here or into the choir room.
Oh, yeah, right. So I do like this idea. I think it will help people feel that ministry. And there'll be some ministries that don't fit those categories.
And that's why you have.
And then we have the tables for those. So Kathleen and Janine, can you guys brainstorm this? I mean, some are obvious. And then just communicate to the ministry leaders. Good. These are a dynamic duo. I think I told you last time we changed their titles because Kathleen has been the administrative assistant, and then Janine can be the assistant administrative assistant. That seemed kind of weird. So now Kathleen's the administrator, and Janine is the assistant administrator. So it's not administrative assistant; it's assistant administrator. Sounds pretty powerful, doesn't it? But they are.
You have a date on the ministry fair?
Yes, September 7th. Yep. Yeah, thank you. Detail. It's on my paper. Go ahead, Michelle.
That's a great idea. We were just talking about the name of it. It seems, to me, it's more like an open house than a fair. And in this community, the word fair brings about visions of cotton candy, and bounce houses,
Yeah.
for people to go see. It would lend itself more to the, go see all the different areas of the church.
Right.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah. Dan's liking it. Okay, we'll process that.
Now, Steve's gonna ask you to share that with the people watching on.
Yes, the suggestion was, instead of calling it ministry fair and people were thinking of Ferris wheels and cotton candy, maybe we should call it a ministry open house. And people would be going like open houses in the various ministry areas. And, of course, we'd have, not everyone would be in the ministry areas, but the open house would also be in the fellowship room for ministries that are off-site, like life groups would be in there somewhere. So, yeah, Steve.
I think there should be cake.
There should be cake.
Now, Steve's gonna tell you to say that.
Yeah. The support, okay? And then, of course, the question is who makes the cake, who brings the cake, who cuts the cake? Yes, Michelle?
All the heads of the ministries know about this coming up, because that's not too far away.
No, well, everyone received the agenda via email, which had the date on it. So,
The agenda for this meeting?
yeah, the same, I'm almost sure that the email that went out about this meeting had that on the list of the agenda items with the date. But we will give it, we'll send out more detail. Kathleen just asked me for my brief synopsis, and we can, I'm leaving tomorrow, or I would do it for the ministry fair and just, to all of our ministry leaders.
Know if the leaders of all these ministries are gonna have time to put together something.
Yeah, though, I mean, we're,
The holiday in there.
it is pretty soon, but, it doesn't need, I think doing it okay is better than not doing it at all. So it doesn't need to be really fancy. Some people will do it fancy anyway. Pat's going,
I'm thinking the same thing, community grouping.
yeah.
I mean, I was totally shocked when I read that agenda.
Oh, yeah,
Even though he's on the leadership team,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know about it till I got there.
Wow.
I need to go to the Bears course.
Yeah.
It's a very busy time of the year.
Right.
You might have some of your ministry leaders thinking, September 7th? Why, that's the weekend after Labor Day weekend.
Right.
And a lot of stuff is just kicking off then, not just school.
Yeah.
but
Well, the idea was to do it before everything kicked off, and we couldn't do it earlier because of Labor Day weekend before that and be gone. And anyway,
People to sign up for life groups and Bible studies and all this.
it would give them opportunity to do that before, because then life groups launch on September 14, which is a Sunday, but that doesn't mean all life groups need to be on Sunday. It's just they begin that week. Is that right? I think so. So the question before us, should we move it back a little bit? Actually, life groups begin the 21st. Yeah. But then, like Jadine's Bible study begins the 15th.
But either way, they're gonna go ahead with it.
Yeah, right. Would there be advantages? Well, the advantage of doing it earlier is just that we get it in before the ministry start. The disadvantage is maybe not giving enough run time.
Yeah.
But
I think with, if we don't ever do it, we won't be any worse off than we've been. So if they've started without the new recruits, we just keep doing what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And then maybe a week later, we have our open house
mhm.
and see if we can recruit at that point. I think that might make sense.
So we're thinking about doing it.
It's tight.
Okay. Then what would
It would be the 14th.
would the 14th make everyone breathe better?
we should probably ask all the leaders of each of the
Well,
ministries.
a lot of the key leaders are right here. So, but we could get it out. But
Patty and Jeff aren't here.
right, though they asked me about this via email, so they know about it, and I gave them a pretty good, yeah.
And your music ministry leader knows about it.
Yeah, I think we do. Well, we maybe not. I don't know for sure. Yeah, but yeah, we got canceled. Right, we were supposed to do a meeting a couple weeks ago. Well, let's shoot for the 14th. Is that okay? And we'll just confirm with people and, you know, yeah. It does a sign-up sheet and some information, basic information. Like, not to take this wrong, but I've heard it said it's better to do something poorly than to not do it at all. The idea is to lower the bar. And of course, I believe in excellence, but the point is, I'm a perfectionist, and I go over the top, and it's like, okay, Paul, just do it. So it's okay to make it simple. That's my point. Is that good? Okay, so that got changed to the 14th. So when you contact people, Kathleen and Janine, it'll be about the 14th. Same information.
Is there a list of all of the ministries anywhere to access for people?
There is, and we put it out periodically, and I have it updated almost, but I was going to wait until we get our life group facilitators so I could add those to that list. But I could send, if you just send me an email and says, please send me the existing ministry list, I'll shoot it off to you.
Because I know Chris isn't here, and I'm assuming the care team, is that not part of our?
Oh yeah, care team's on there. Yeah, and she could have a care team station.
I can give her a copy.
Yeah. And Kathleen has that list, the master list.
And what
Yeah.
about our women's fellowship? I know we have that. It's on the list there.
Yeah. The list is quite complete. Yeah. Just ask me for it and I'll zip it over to you. Yeah. Ron, you're on there with your team. Yeah. So, Ken, you're on there with your new team, which doesn't have very many people on it yet, but has a few. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes.
Is there a tutorial on Breeze? I know I'm in it, but I haven't seen it.
Kathleen, tutorial for Breeze. Brian has access, right? Because he's a member.
I know I'm in it, but I haven't done it before.
Kathleen knows. Yeah.
Oh, and if anybody gets anything with my name, Pat Whiting, on it, through Breeze, it says Breeze on it, it wasn't from me. And Kathleen's been checking on it with Breeze.
Yeah.
Because a couple people, one including my husband,
Yeah, it was
send
kind
me
of
all,
weird. It was like,
all your hard copy pictorial
send me your,
directories.
send me your directory.
Did you? You got it too from me? See? What-
Look at Kathleen, so I knew.
Spammers are brilliant. I've had, what they'll do is they'll scour the web, they'll find a pastor's name, they'll make up a fake email address. Like they made up pastorpaulbradford@gmail.com, and they sent it out to somehow they got hold of, I don't know, the church's contact list. Went to all the people, and this is an appeal from me. This is when I was in Pella, an appeal from me to, there's this person in great need, and I couldn't give details as pastoral confidentiality, but if you could send me, a gift card, blah, 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 and that would really be, I need so much. And this one lady got it, and she, asked me if it was me. I said, no, I explained it was spam. And she called the number. And she took the guy for a ride. It's so funny. She told me all about it. She just let him down, and finally she just turned around and just exhorted him. You scumbag. What are you doing? Don't you have any conscience at all? I know this is fake. Anyway, I thought it was kind of funny. This proper lady. So, okay, well, okay, we want to pray, and we have 10 minutes. And so let's do groups of 2 or 3. Best not a couple, just so that you can, pray with somebody else. So, and just ask the other person, what do you need prayer for? Just a ministry or personal or one of each. And then just pray for them and then flip it around and pray for the other person. So let's do that real quick. Just spend some time praying for one another, and then we'll conclude in 10 minutes. So groups of 2. 2 might be best, but 3 would be okay.
Absolutely.